Welcome to Ask the Raw Squad, where we give you diverse but probably still terrible advice, featuring me, Heather, twin, Amelia, I'm not going to point, middle sister Lindsay, and eldest sister Brittany. We've got a few questions for you today. I got two this week about hauntings, so that's interesting. What is the worst style choice you've ever made?
The tankini. A tankini is like a half tank top bikini, so it just cuts off at your midsection, which is usually where, like, you know how you kind of curve in like this and then go out? It covers where you curve in, and then just the out part is there. It doesn't matter if you're a size 0, a size 22. It doesn't matter if you're actually a skeleton. You still look like shit in it. None of you look good in them either. Whatever.
Lindsay, worst fashion choice?
Oh, yeah. Clips! I wish that I had the silver clips to do this, but really just aggressively pinning both sides of my hair like this with big silver clips, and I loved it, and I thought it looked great.
Lindsay also used to take elastic bands and clip or band her hair like every inch like this. I did it one day and Lindsay could have murdered me. She's like, that is my thing. You will never do it again.
Lindsay's double clip also happened with a middle part. Yeah, it was like an aggressive middle part. Anyone that's a quilter, you know, those big metal clips that you use for quilting, they're those.
They were really bad. I was really into those. I don't know why.
But it was very distinct. It was a very distinct Lindsay choice. You always knew.
We all call them Lindsay clips. That's important to note. I've gone through some really interesting phases. I kind of enjoyed most of my bad fashion choices, so I'm going to pick the ones that I enjoyed the least, which was just low-rise jeans. Just like being like 120 pounds and wearing low-rise jeans and being like, I have a muffin top and I weigh nothing.
Amelia, I can't actually think of any really bad fashion thing that you went through.
All leopard print, like leopard print shirt, leopard print pants, purple hair, like I was pretty into the hardcore leopard print for a bit.
I think I liked it all.
I know, and I'm wondering, Amelia, if you know this. Do you remember the pleather jacket from one of your ex-boyfriends?
Yes.
And it was super, super worn out. Do you know that I believe it was Brittany looked me dead in the eyes, put it in a garbage bag, tied it, and threw it in the garbage one day when you were out?
I don't remember this.
I felt like I was watching a murder be committed because it wasn't a question.
That, like, I don't remember doing that, but that wouldn't have been the first time that I ever did that, so I believe it. While we're on fashion choices and pleather.
Can we do a 1, 2, 3 and say it together?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, okay.
1, 2,
2,
3.
Purple
pleather
Heather. Yeah, I live my life as purple pleather Heather. I have purple pleather pants. They're very amazing, actually. So I don't know why you're looking at me like they were a bad fashion choice. I was very fashionable. I think anything tube top that I've ever owned is my worst decision. And I wear a lot of bad clothing, so that's a testament. But tube tops are real bad. Do you guys remember that dress that I had that swooped down like this from American Apparel? Like that, and it was blue, and I would wear things underneath it. I think I was right maybe 2 times on being ahead of the times in fashion, and then I decided that I was always right. And so I was waiting for everyone to catch on with that one, and now I look back at the photos and I'm like, never caught fire.
I actually think that tube tops look like shit on everyone. And I especially think the one that I owned that said, I wish these were brains, was the very worst.
I'm going to ask a spooky question now. How do you overcome a persistent haunting? I'd say, is it a friendly spirit or is it a malicious spirit? Because if it's a friendly spirit, I'd say just leave him alone. He's probably actually protecting you from something bigger.
Yeah, I would agree. If it's a friendly ghost, then leave it alone. If there's a potential that there's nothing really happening and that you're just seeing things, I would probably pay somebody who says that they can exercise a space, because if you believe that shit is happening, you'll probably believe that that shit can be resolved. If they're good ghosts, let it happen.
No, I think if it's like a friendly ghost that like maybe just moves things around, you could put some flowers there. like have a little sign, try to figure out what the ghost's name is. Maybe you could put a little sign up that says, "Welcome, so and so. I hope you have a really nice time here. Here's a little chair for you in the corner." But don't put a rocking chair in the corner because that's just creepy.
Ouija board. Get a Ouija board. See what it wants.
Yeah, come on. Ouija board, 100%. Yes.
You have to be careful with Ouija boards because if you don't close it right, then they're allowed to sneak in and be bad ghosts.
What does that mean? How do you properly close the Ouija board?
What you have to say goodbye in the right way, or else the ghost can come in through the Ouija board.
Also, other spirits can come in. You might not be talking to who you think you're talking to. Ghosts can be liars, just like people are liars. So it could be like, "Oh yeah, hi, my name is Mary. I would really like to be your friend." And I'm like, "Sit here." It's not Mary. It's like Bloody Mary. So you just can't do that. Oh my God, I said it once.
Yeah, friendly ghost, obviously just be nice. If you have a malicious ghost, I would say burn some incense and wander around the house with it. And then if you still have problems, I always feel like in movies, whenever they still have like progressive problems with ghosts, they just like, we need to live here. Get the fuck out. Don't stay there. If you are having dangerous things happen to you, whether they are ghosts or not, and you have the ability to get out of there, just fucking go.
Whenever you burn your incense or anything like that, you are supposed to open a window so that everything, like, even if it's just your negative energy, whatever, it goes out the window. You should have like each room that you do it in, and even if it's like your bathroom that doesn't have a window, you run your tap so it goes down and out.
Question 3. What kind of drunk are you?
At this point, just quiet and sneaky. Like people don't even realize how drunk I am.
I'm the kind of drunk that loses my filter, but I don't really like it's not like in a bad mean way because I feel like I don't have that many bad mean thoughts. I just say all of like the stupid shit that I'm thinking.
I don't really get polluted anymore. Like when I used to drink in my early 20s, I used to be like a drunk and like just be so stupid all the time. And like the next day I'd wake up and be like, "Oh my God, I hate my life. I can't see anybody forever." But now I like to usually cut myself off after a couple of drinks, switch over to water. And so I don't get like bombed or anything. I'd say hilarious. And I'd say nobody agreed with that.
I feel like I'm like a shenanigans drunk. Like I like to do really silly like jokes that aren't really that funny to anyone, but not like I like want to pick on people, but not like in a really mean way.
I changed my answer. I'm a Circle K drunk. I like to get drunk, and as soon as I realize I'm drunk, I'm like going to Circle K, getting an egg salad sandwich, a Snickers bar, a soda water, a pack of Pringles, and a bag of Pillow Pockets, and I'm good. I want to get in bed. I want to fall asleep watching some crap on Netflix while I'm shoving my face, and then wake up the next day and complain that there's ants in my bed.
I would say I don't drink anymore. I quit drinking a year and a half ago. I'd say even as a reasonable drunk, I just told everybody my secrets. I remember going to a show one night and the next day seeing a friend of mine who was a comic and just being like, "You know too much." And he's like, "I know." And I was like, "Why did I tell you?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "You know too many things." That is mostly what type of drunk I was. Any more comments? Types of drunks?
Maybe a former slutty drunk too.
You know, there's a chance of that.
Isn't everybody a little? Isn't everybody a little? No. Oh, Lindsay, you were slutty sober. So
What is the favorite show you're watching right now, or maybe a really great series that people should check out, even if it's a little older?
I'm gonna say Beast. I'm so obsessed with Beastars right now.
Oh, yeah.
Beastars is like an anthropomorphic animal society, and it's like about kind of like the tensions between like carnivores and herbivores, and it's also like high school and drama, and it just has really well developed characters. There's a slut in an anime, and that is like unheard of. It is like she like big hoe energy, and I love it. It's really fucking weird. Like I'm gonna be straight up, it's a weird show. I watched it in English. I read the entire manga twice, and then I watched it in Japanese.
Wow.
I'm currently watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I haven't finished that one, but I think I've watched all the other series except for the animated series. It's definitely not for everybody, but for the right type of person. All Star Trek is great.
That would be my other one. Is I love Voyager. Like one of the favorite parts of my day is like Jeff and I watch TV while we eat dinner. It's like I'm gonna sit down and eat my food and watch Voyager. Do do do.
It's funny starting a new Star Trek series because you always feel like, oh, that's not really the captain that I know and love, and that's not the doctor that I know and love. And then after like a little while, then you start to fall for them and you're like, okay, now I'm in.
Lindsay, if someone were going to get into Star Trek for the first time, where would you start them?
I would probably start it with TNG, and just know that the first 4 seasons are going to be slower.
Well, I just want to say that like lots of people hate different Star Treks, and like people are like, that's not like good Star Trek, whatever. It like the one with like the doctor that's like a hologram doctor. It's like Tuvok is the Vulcan in it. That's actually, there's an episode with them where it's the very best one where the doctor starts learning how to daydream. And his daydream, him and Seven of Nine are like singing and stuff. And he's like, Tuvok, you're a Vulcan, you do not understand. And it's so good. So like they all have like their good parts. For me, my favorite series that I could like really binge watch and not get depressed and not get like, I love Doctor Who. Matt Smith is my favorite doctor.
The same question for Lindsay. Where would you start somebody on Doctor Who if they weren't initiated?
I'd still start the new series. I'd start with like the newest ones that started. I can't remember what that guy's name is, but he's kind of like, he's a bit gritty and it's funny, and they've got some really like good aliens in it, like the adipose. They're like these fat aliens that are like, they're just like adipose, like they're just fat and they're cute.
I just watched it, and I know I'm really behind, but I just watched Fargo, the series, and absolutely loved it. Brittany despises it, I know. The characters are phenomenal. It's so funny. The lead characters are so sweet. The evil character, even the bad guy. The other night we were going to sleep, and I just said to Anna, I was like, I miss Lorne Malvo. I miss the evil guy from season 1. He was just so good. So I really, really enjoyed it. If anybody just wants to get into something, and it's anthology style, so each season is its own little universe. And it's kind of the same thing with like Star Trek. Like you have to learn to love the new characters, and you're like, but I miss the old characters. But also, I really appreciate when something ends. I think something having a bunch of series and all that stuff and ongoing, or the chance that your characters will be ruined by like writing for too long, really stresses me out. So I love when something's anthology style, or like there's a plan and it's going to be over. Even though I'm going to miss the characters, I want it to be planned out so that you don't get season 10 of How I Met Your Mother and you hate everybody.
I always hate everybody by the end of anything. Like Breaking Bad, started to hate them, couldn't watch anymore. Sons of Anarchy, fuck them. What happened to you, Jax Teller? I'll never know because I'll never give a shit. Like I'm not even gonna IMDb the ending of that. Like I just don't care.
Alrighty, so this is a question for outside of the pandemic. Should I pick the college program that I want that's more expensive and further away, or the one that's closer and less expensive?
Is the one that's further away the one that you want, and the one that's closer and cheaper one that you don't want then? Oh, then do the one that you want. Because don't pay money, even if it's less money, don't pay money to do a program that you don't want to do. That makes no sense. If you are going to get the exact same education out of both and you just prefer one program over the other, then I would probably do the one closer to home, because you're probably going to eat at home more and it will cost you significantly less to come home for holidays. But that's only if it's the same course, because otherwise, just because it's less money, you're still blowing money on something that you don't want to be doing.
Oh, I feel the same way. As somebody that did have to pay back like $12,000 for something that they never used. Yeah, go for something that you want rather than something that you're going to pay off that you didn't use for anything.
So for me, I could do the same program. I originally picked St. Mary's because I got a bigger scholarship there. Even though I didn't feel like I really vibed with St. Mary's, I felt like St. Thomas seemed like kind of more my jam. I was like, no, I can do St. Mary's. That'll be Halifax. It'll be fun. And really, I got there and I just didn't vibe with St. Mary's. And it was like, oh, right. Like it wasn't me at all. Mm-hmm. And I made it through my first year, but it was really hard and I was really depressed. I had scholarships to both. I just had more money to St. Mary's. If I had just been like, oh, well, you know what? Even if this is a little more expensive, this is going to be much more my jam because I went to St. Thomas anyways the next year, but without the scholarship that I would have had otherwise. Right.
Yeah,
So
that's a really good point. It's kind of easy to say when you've got money. I can understand why you're scared to spend money, but especially if it's your first time going for school or something like that, take the adventure, because you never know when the adventure ends. Like, you never know when you're going to be settled down with like a kid or a debt or whatever is going to happen in your life. So if you're young and now's the time that you can, take on a little bit of student loan or something like that, go for adventure and do what you want to be doing, because now is really your time. Not that having debt or having a kid or anything, that's not a bad thing, just life changes.
Take a summer job though, and don't drink all your money. Save it and put it towards your classes. It's a difference of like shaving off a couple beer on a night out or being the DD sometimes. Don't be afraid to ask for gas money if you're going somewhere. Like, make sensible choices. Don't put stuff on credit cards that you can't afford. Do not do that. Don't get yourself into credit card debt that you cannot pay off, because a deal is never a deal if you're paying the interest on it later. A $5 t-shirt that you can't pay off right away ends up being a $25 t-shirt. It's not worth it. But that's just like extra life advice on going to university and stuff, because I always felt like the poor friend that didn't have nice new clothes, but I was a friend that didn't have a substantial amount of debt.
Definitely a summer job. I would say don't take on too much while you're in school, though. I did a master's, and lots of people were working a full-time job during a master's, and then they weren't really doing their master's because you were supposed to be working full-time. And I just think it's kind of a shame. And lots of times it's about what you can afford. It's worth taking out a little bit more money to really pay attention to the course that you're doing and do the work and be present, because otherwise, again, you're spending money on something that you're not actually applying yourself to. I mean, definitely work during the summer. If you can find a part-time job, something one day a week or something like that suits you, yes, but don't let a job consume your life and then let school fall behind.
obviously this comes from like a place of privilege where
Yeah, totally.
you have the money to actually do the things that you want to do. What I did when I was in university was I worked at the school cafeteria. I was a dishwasher, and I only worked 12 hours a week. And I knew people that had to work like a lot more just to get by. They didn't get a student loan. They didn't get a line of credit. Like, they just couldn't. And so, yeah, they would be working a full-time job while doing full-time school, and it wasn't really an option for them. But I also knew people who worked like a full-time job and spent all their money on clothes and didn't really do their homework and didn't really care. And that seemed pointless to me.
Yeah, I'm saying if you can afford to take out a little bit more of a safe loan, not credit card, not La La Land, make it so that you can actually get your education, not skirt by. Some people have to skirt by, and you just have to do that to survive.
Go to college. Go to college. Draw EI while you're in college. Lots of college courses have like 2 years there, and then you can flip over to university, and it is so well worth it. And you actually really get trained to go like further in your actual career, rather than like, like going to a university course where at the end you're like, what the fuck do I do with this? Like, what am I qualified to do? I don't know. Really think about your college options instead, because a lot of the times, like, they just prepare you more and it's more support.
I think people enjoy college more too. You end up in more of a tight-knit community than like a huge university where it's not all the same people in all of your classes. I think most people I know have enjoyed like the friendships they've made in college more too.
As someone with 2 university degrees, might I recommend college?
Yeah, I'm also team college. The college I went to was really fucking hard. Like, it was a really difficult program, but also just the different learning style is so worth it. University, it's like, I feel like there's definitely things you miss from university when you go to college, but it's not stuff that you can't miss. Like, I feel like you miss the super crazy drunk times a little bit. Like, there wasn't as much of that in college, right? Like, not getting trashed every weekend. And I was okay with that. Well, I was also older by the time I went to college, though, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm sure you can find some way else to get drunk. You'll be fine.
Yes. And then we'll find out what type of drunk you are. This has been episode 6 of Ask the Raw Squad. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. And if you have any questions or if you want advice, please comment below or write it on the Google form. Thanks so much for watching. Farewell, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.